This is crazy. This is so crazy. Let's do this. We've all seen the headlines. Microsoft is going to acquire Activision Blizzard for roughly $70 billion. I don't actually know what's more outlandish here. The fact that Microsoft is about to acquire Activision Blizzard, or the fact that Microsoft is purchasing a video games company for $70 billion after just spending about $8 billion acquiring Bethesda. This is nuts. But I have some thoughts and I'd like to share it with you all. So before we get into it, please like, share, comment and subscribe and help me get to 1,000 subs by the end of this year. Cool. So, quite an unstructured video, I apologise, but I just wanted to share my thoughts with you all as they come, or as they came to me. I've made a few bullet points, about 16, and we'll just run through it. So, first up, when Microsoft acquired Bethesda, they kind of made it clear that they weren't done with their acquisitions. And this led to a whole bunch of speculation and a whole bunch of rumours. Would it be WB Games? Would it be Ubisoft? Would it be Sega? At no point was Activision Blizzard mentioned. I think there was something about Take-Two, but again, Take-Two, EA and Activision Blizzard realistically seemed out of reach. Like, just, you would have been basically been laughed at if you made that prediction. But here we are, and it's true. And it's surprising because it just shows how serious Microsoft is about games. I honestly still can't believe that we are going to be in a world where Activision is consolidated into Xbox Game Studios. But yeah. Now a lot of people have been trying to convey why Microsoft would acquire Activision, and a massive chunk of that, yes, is IP, is Call of Duty, and we will get to that in a second. But I think another massive part of the reason why Microsoft decided to acquire Activision is because of the likes of Google and the likes of Amazon Luna. Now, Microsoft have Xbox Game Pass, and Xbox Game Pass is Microsoft's future. They want Game Pass on as many different devices as possible, to the point where I think that if tomorrow they could reach 200 million subscribers of Game Pass using streaming, they will never produce another Xbox console. They will significantly reduce production of them anyway. And their biggest threat right now to streaming is Amazon and is Google. And with all the issues that have plagued Activision over the recent years, something needed to change. And Microsoft probably thought, look, the only change will be a change in leadership, and to force that change in leadership, they will need to be acquired, and it's better we acquire them than one of our competitors. Because imagine having to play the next Call of Duty game on an Amazon Luna or Google Stadia. Yeah. So the next bullet point was, so now that Activision is under under Microsoft, what does that mean about games? Now, I looked at a list of of Activision IP, and they own Spyro, Crash Bandicoot, True Crime, which I actually really enjoyed, Guitar Hero, DJ Hero. I mean, the list goes on. And that's outside of the big ones, outside of Diablo, outside of Call of Duty, outside of World of Warcraft. So they own a plethora of IPs. And I am 100% sure that a lot of these studios are fed up of producing yearly Call of Duty games. And what I think Microsoft will most likely do, and I think this is a smart thing for them to do, is basically go to Infinity Ward or Sledgehammer or Treyarch and be like, look, you take care of Call of Duty from now on, and we will allow all the other studios to produce games they actually want to produce, to go out and produce new IP or to revive old IPs, be it from Activision Blizzard's own catalogue of IPs or another IP from one of Xbox's studios, like, for example, Banjo-Kazooie. And I still can't believe that this is happening. But yeah, I think that Microsoft will stop the yearly pressure of new Call of Duties coming out each year. Why? Because Activision was required to meet certain targets for investors and shareholders that they won't need to meet under Microsoft. Therefore, creativity will just ramp up. I'm talking from a place of hope, but I think that is the smart thing to do. And we've seen that Xbox isn't afraid of delaying big games. They delayed Halo, they delayed Forza. They're not afraid of delaying big games to make sure that an okay game is a great game. And I think that philosophy will filter through to Activision. So another thing is that a lot of people are saying, well, Game Pass isn't making money. I think the fact that they have gone out and spent close to £80 billion on acquiring studios over the last year, 2 years, shows that they're in it for the long run. And yeah, sure, Game Pass probably isn't making any money right now. And even if they increased it by $5 to $10, it probably still wouldn't make any money. But I think that they're aiming for a point where there is so many subscribers to Game Pass that potentially some studios would actually pay to have their games put onto Game Pass. Now, I know that sounds really strange, but imagine if, for example, EA released their latest football or soccer game, or Madden game, American football game. They could release that into Game Pass and then have microtransactions and monetize their game that way. And instantly, they will have access to around 200 Game Pass subscribers day one, straight away. And I think that, not necessarily for EA, but I was using that as an example, but that could be very appealing to certain developers that just want to hit the ground running and start making money as quickly as possible. Granted, they are also spending money to put it on Game Pass, but I think it can reach that point. And I think that is the end goal for Microsoft, to kind of have a role reversal in the way that Game Pass is funded. So they announced also that Game Pass has 25 million subs, which, cool, is below where they wanted to be, but I am in no doubt that having Call of Duty, all the Call of Duty games appear on Game Pass will significantly bolster that number. But 25 million subs, if I can reach that, I'll be a happy man. So hopefully Xbox is happy with that number. It is still a really, really high, phenomenal number. Um, so, another point that a lot of people are making was that competition laws across various regions won't let this happen. I don't see why. People have been saying that that this will make Microsoft a monopoly. The Verge, I think it was The Verge. The Verge said that it will make Microsoft the second biggest gaming company in terms of revenue after Tencent and Sony. So I don't see how that would be a monopoly. I think if they then went and purchased Tencent, I'd think, yeah, there will be some resistance, some friction to that. But I can't see this deal falling through. Especially, I don't think they would have announced it if they felt a bit shaky with it falling through. So yeah, I think that this is done. And yeah, it's basically a done deal. So there is now a question about exclusive games and what will remain exclusive, what won't. I think anything that's free to play will remain exclusive. So for example, Call of Duty Warzone. Everything else will 100% be exclusive. This is my opinion, but I can't see them not making exclusive heavy hitting games. The big heavy hitting games not exclusive. But yeah, so what I think will happen is games like Call of Duty Warzone will remain on the platforms they're currently on. I think what they will do is they'll probably release a slightly updated version of Call of Duty Warzone, which will not appear anywhere else but Game Pass, and then eventually keep iterating on that new version of Warzone until the gap between the current version of Warzone that we have and the new version is so big that people are just like, look, I need to play Warzone and I need to play the best version of it, and that's no longer on PlayStation. So yeah, there's this thing about the Activision leadership, which we all know about the harassment. Disgusting. We won't really get into that, but we all know and feel like Bobby Kotick should leave, and they've announced that he will remain CEO during this transition period, and it's very unclear whether he will leave. So Xbox did make a statement saying that they want to have a culture of being inclusive and all of that, and I think that was them kind of giving a politically correct answer in terms of what's happening. Like, they don't own the company yet, so they can't come out and say they will do this, they will do that. But I think the fact that they've said that they want to harbour an inclusive culture, I think that is them basically saying, yeah, they will get rid of all the bad apples at Activision, which they should. 100% they should. I think this is very similar to when Nintendo went out and bought, I believe it was Retro Studios, as they had a culture of crunch and Nintendo wanted to change that. So obviously this is a lot worse, as this involves harassment. And yeah, I really do hope that Phil Spencer and the current Xbox team do really weed out all these bad apples. Should Sony be panicking? Yes. And I say that because for a number of reasons. If you want to look at it financially, I assume that PlayStation made a lot of money off of the microtransactions that came through from Call of Duty, and potentially that could be stripped away from them. But more so, it's the fact that Call of Duty was such a massive franchise for the PlayStation. People would literally buy the PlayStation just to play Call of Duty games or Fortnite. So now a lot of people out there, when they want to go and get their hands on the next gen console, will simply get their hands on the Call of Duty console. And the Series S, being as cheap as it is relatively to the current set of current gen consoles, it's almost a no-brainer to just get a Series S, Game Pass, and play Call of Duty. If that's the only game, if that is the main game you play, like it just makes the kind of sense that does. And that then will lead on to potentially even a lot of PlayStation die-hard fans that want to play Call of Duty going out and grabbing a Series S as a secondary console. Or if Microsoft does even release a streaming stick that has Game Pass, I mean, again, that's a no-brainer. You grab the streaming stick and you're there playing Call of Duty, which is an online game anyway. So yeah, I mean, there's so many ways to go about this that can and probably will threaten Sony in some capacity. But yeah, I mean, right now, literally Microsoft from a few years ago basically had almost, I think, maybe 10 studios, and now they've got around 30, and it's crazy. Do I agree with this process of acquiring studios? No, I don't. And it does show that Microsoft, or let me spin this differently, it shows the talent that PlayStation has for curating and constructing studios. And not to say that Microsoft have gone about this the wrong way, but Microsoft are playing a game that Sony and Nintendo cannot win. Ultimately, I do think that this will hopefully benefit all of us, in the sense that if you game on Xbox, you're getting a whole plethora of fantastic games, and I hope it does breathe new life into Activision, and they're not all about just Call of Duty, and they return to some of their fantastic IP like True Crime or Prototype, and make something amazing again outside of Call of Duty. That being said, I also do hope that this makes Sony sit up and really consider meeting a lot of these games head on. True Crime, Sony can release a new Getaway game. Call of Duty, Sony can release SOCOM or Killzone. I mean, then again, I feel like Killzone's more matched up against Halo, but you can see what I mean here. Like, bring us Infamous, bring us back Motorstorm. Should Sony acquire studios? Yeah, I think Sony will need to go out and acquire studios. Not because they want to necessarily, but I mean, to kind of protect their platform as well. And I think the most logical is Square Enix or Capcom or Konami. And I think they should definitely go in and try to acquire Capcom and Square Enix. And I think they should also try to just purchase the IPs off of Konami. But yeah, those are my thoughts. Please let me know what you all think in the comments below. And I was actually planning a few videos about how each console platform could win 2022. This news will drastically change the scripts that I've had planned out for the Xbox and the PlayStation platforms, but it is the game we're in. And yeah, guys, thank you for sitting here with me, and until the next one, guys, happy gaming.